Alrighty then. I can already tell by the title here that I'm probably not going to think you're an asshole in this for tricking your kids into eating mushroom soup, mainly because my mom was a very tough love person. Just a little quick background here. When I was a kid, there was a period, I was like 6 or 7. My mom told me we're going to be having chili for dinner. My mom made notoriously spicy chili. My thing was, I'm 6. I'm going to get insane diarrhea and die. I'm frail. What do you not get about that? To which she said, yeah, and that's exactly what I told her as a 6-year-old. Mother, I do not want diarrhea, for I am frail and will die. But she basically told me, that's what's for dinner. So add a little extra sour cream to it, I guess, bud, or starve. Now, some people consider that to be abuse, I guess, but now I like spicy food, and I thank her every day for that. Because who knows, you know? She threw me in the deep end of a pool one time to teach me how to swim. Now, she would have saved me if I started drowning, but she knew. She's like, he's going to figure it out. She's like, she trusted in me. She's like, he'll doggy paddle at least his way up to the top, and I did. I'm not saying that works out for everybody. It worked out for me, though, you know? She was like, I'm going to play lifeguard real quick. Pretend to drown real quick, buddy. And I ended up being just fine, okay? So I definitely take like a very tough love approach to a lot of things that I think would make me biased in this particular case. Like just reading the title, I'm like, hey, listen, little 6-year-old piece of shit, grow up. But whatever. My children are not allergic to mushrooms, okay? You're already on the right track here. My children love cream of mushroom soup. My kids hate the texture of mushrooms. When my wife uses canned mushroom soup in a recipe, she will strain out the mushrooms for the kids. However, when I use mushroom soup in a recipe, I run it through the blender. The pieces are so little that they have no texture. The kids don't complain about it, and I don't waste time. You're not an asshole. If your kids don't even notice, no. My wife seems to think that I'm being an asshole because I'm trucking them into eating something that they have been very clear about not liking. They're kids, man. You got to do what you got to do. You know, trick them into eating Brussels sprouts somehow. Like, do it. It's kind of wild to me. I don't know. I feel like a lot of like young kids, toddlers. It's a whole you got to do a whole lot of tricking. You know, a whole lot of tricking to get them to eat the foods that are good for them. Because they'll eat pizza all day. Pizza, mac and cheese, brownies. They'll eat that shit all day. But guess what? You got to eat some of them green beans. You know, you got to eat them turnip greens, or you know. You just got to eat. You got to eat some greens. Them's the rules. So a little trickery, you know, make it happen. Plus the fact that they liked the taste of it, like that just to me just makes it you're not an asshole, man. By default, you're not an asshole. Because you tried something, you put them in a blender, the kids had the soup, and they didn't mind it. So to me, you know, it'd be one thing if you gave it to them and they're like, something's off. I don't like the taste of this. And you're like, it's because I blah, blah, blah. I mixed up the mushrooms. So you're going to eat it anyways. I guess that would make you kind of like my mom, but I don't know. I was never really picky. You know, I think that chili was the only thing, and it was because it was spicy. And she was right. Add more sour cream. It'll dull it down a little bit. I like to think that chili is what made me the man I am today. You know? I am the person in my friend group that gets the spicier, you know, the top end of the spicy wings, you know, in confidence. Now, I do like a good flavor. I know Buffalo Wild Wings, they're like, what's their hottest sauce? Blazing? I've had it before. It tastes like ass. However, if you just go a couple notches below that and you get the mango habanero, still pretty spicy, but genuinely really good. So I'm not like one of those dudes who just eats spicy food for the sake of eating spicy food. I enjoy a lot of the flavors that we get from spicy food. You know what I mean? Like jalapeno just on its own is just delicious. I could just eat jalapenos. That's right. If you just toast them a little bit, you know what I mean? I can just eat jalapeno. I think jalapenos are delicious. Jalapenos are like the best tasting pepper, in my opinion. I've had like ghost pepper, Carolina Reapers. Carolina Reapers taste like ass, in my opinion. But and it sucked. It was really unenjoyable. But anyways, I don't think you're an asshole. But let's go ahead and see what everyone thinks. You know, let's get the yapping done. As someone who has hated mushrooms with a fiery passion their whole life, when I found out my mom always blended some up for her Thanksgiving stuffing that I love, I admit my ego was a bit bruised. That's gotta be rough. It's like a 7-year-old. Ultimately, I learned a valuable lesson. Things, even foods, aren't black and white. There's a finely blended mushroom gray area and that's okay. There's no vegan vegetarian moral issue here, and I'm glad my mom tricked me, as I definitely would have refused to eat it as a kid if I knew. So I'm going with not the asshole. Yeah, not the asshole. I feel like it's going to take a while to scroll to find a "you're the asshole" post. However, one thing that I found funny, I saw this on Ask Men the other day. Somebody was asking, how did you get over like your pickiness with food, right? Like, how did you move beyond tendies and chocolate milk onto sushi or something like that? And a lot of the responses were like, I just grew up. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say that to somebody. It's a very funny thing to say to somebody, like, there's not really much on this menu. I guess I'll just order the chicken tenders from the kids menu. It's very funny to look at that person and say, time to grow up, buddy. You're in your mid-20s. Time to grow up. But it is interesting to see so many people who are basically like, friends were inviting me to Korean barbecues and like Korean barbecue restaurants and sushi places. And I was always just like, ew, gross, ew, whatever. Until finally I was like, you know what? I want to hang out with my friends at this place. So they gave it a shot and they ended up liking it. I'm not saying that's going to happen for everyone, but I do think there's a lot of people that, I don't know. Growing up is the funny pull yourself up by your bootstraps alternative option answer that I would give to people, you know? Have you even tried sushi? It's just the idea of it that's gross to me. Grow up, bitch. Not the asshole. I can't call anybody an a-hole here because neither one of you are forcing your kids to eat intact mushrooms. I had issues with the texture of certain foods when I was a kid. Your wife doesn't have better things to worry about than the texture of mushrooms you're feeding your kids. That's a ridiculous waste of energy and time. Hey man, that's like kid 101. That's all kids just, I don't know if you're aware, but like that's like a huge issue when it comes to raising kids, is that initial like hump of, you got to try this. We got to get you to eat more of this. You got to have more greens. Brussels sprouts, I know I don't know they're gross. I actually like Brussels sprouts. I've lived a pretty simple life because of, I think maybe it's probably because we were poor. So like you could not like collard greens. Collard greens, they were easy to make. You could make a bunch of it. And it could be reheated for a very long time. We would freeze big batches and just reheat it as a side for like a long time. And there's cheaper stuff. You could literally make cabbage soup. You know what I mean? But I never really was too picky. Food texture sensitivity is a very real thing. I'm glad you figured out that they dislike the texture. You are not the jerk, not the asshole. Just as long as you do not do the boomer reveal of, you don't know what you like, you've been eating mushrooms all this time, dummy. Yeah, do that when they're older. Father here. I have an extremely picky eater. I never trick him into eating food he does not like, as I always tell my kids, let's focus on the why, not the what. Hey, little Timmy, I know you're 6 years old. Do you know about correlation and causation? You know, let's talk about the why. You know, not the what. Whatever. Very simple. It's a breach of their trust in you as their parent. Once they find out you tricked them, you'll be back on here later asking if you're the asshole because of a whole other what. And while the underlying issue is why, it's really not that deep. If they like the taste but not the texture, how is this even a trick? Oh my God. Why are you writing short essays? I'm going to have to say I don't agree with this guy, and I feel like your kids are going to have I'm not even going to say it, because there's probably people in the comment section who are like, I agree with that guy, and they're getting very upset at the idea of me disagreeing with this guy. But you're like, you think that you're creating like these deep, like future trust issues, you know, like your kid's going to turn 16 and be like, what do you mean? What do you mean the mushroom soup had blended mushrooms? I'm leaving. I'm leaving the family. I'm dropping out of school. No, they're probably going to be like, what? And then you'll be like, yeah, little buddy, you're dumb. You don't even know you're eating. That's what you tell your child. No, you don't tell your child that. It's fine. But also, you know, when I see people talk about this, it's a breach of their trust in you as a parent. Like talking to a 7-year-old. I'm sorry, little Timmy. I have breached your trust. I wasn't focusing enough on the why and not the what. As opposed to the what. What the fuck are you talking about? It's like a 7-year-old kid. Correlation, causation. Just because they like the soup, you don't naturally correlate you blending the mushroom with that. It could be the rest of the recipe that they like. They might still hate mushrooms. I'm literally forcing an argument with a person because I feel like it's going to be very hard to find somebody who hates. Oh, good Lord. No part of your duties as a parent is to trick kids into what? No, it's a part of your duties as a parent to trick kids into eating food they don't like. You're the asshole. Tricking anyone into anything is massive asshole behavior. It's never funny or informative, and it will never change their minds about mushrooms. It might. All it does is let them know that they can't trust anything you feed them in the future. Apologize to everyone involved and never do this again. There's a massive difference between not liking the flavor of something and not liking the texture. True. That is very important. Obviously the taste of the mushroom was never a problem. Why are you guys eating canned mushroom soup so often? Seriously, who does that? Any canned soup, so much sodium. I'm confused. Wait. However, when I use the mushroom soup in a recipe, my kids hate the texture of mushrooms. My wife uses canned mushroom soup in a recipe. She will strain the mushrooms. Okay. I don't know. They're probably fine. They make low sodium mushroom. You guys are getting downvoted for this, but they make low sodium. They'll be all right, man. If it's mixed in with a recipe of something else, they'll be all right. You clearly have a better solution than your wife. The wife solution works too. You know? I think his is just faster. Short answer, no. No, not the asshole. I'm the same as your kids. I hate the texture of mushrooms, but don't mind the flavor. Blending works for me. No, you don't understand when they grow up, they're going to have trust issues with you, Dad. Idiot. You're the asshole, definitively. Online Jesus fuckers. Gotcha, man. Right. I don't trust anybody with a Reddit, whatever this is. I don't trust that. No, sir. I don't trust any of that. Put a picture of yourself. A picture of me on Reddit. That's so stupid. It's a picture of me drinking next to the monkey drinking the Capri Sun. That is my picture on Reddit. I don't care. Oh, you guys can't even see it. I don't even know why I'm talking about it. She's right. You're shitty to trick them, but you're not harming them. Kinda, you're the asshole. No, I don't think so. You're both tricking them into eating mushrooms. Picking out the mushrooms doesn't remove the flavor. That's kind of true. Who has to wash the blender after? What? Probably him, if he's cooking. Actually, I think the rule is whoever cooks doesn't have to clean and put up the food. It's like a switch. Whoever cooks doesn't have to put up the food, you know, and vice versa. If you don't cook, you have to put up the food. That's how we do it, you know? That's how we're supposed to do it. We don't always do it that way. That's how we do it most of the time. Slightly different context. Am I the asshole for lying to people about what I'm serving them so they put unknown substances into their body? What? The kids are eating cream of mushroom soup. They fucking know there are mushrooms in there. It's literally in the name. Lying is always wrong. I like how you turn this into like a Bill Cosby situation. They put unknown substances into their body. It's a mushroom. You accidentally inhaled a piece of mushroom in cream of mushroom soup. Oh my God. Dear God, man. A-hole seems too strong here, but you're the asshole. If your kids find out, there will be a violation of trust. They're 7. Yeah, these are like the 20-something-year-olds that still live with their parents that talk about how their parents violated their trust. Listen, I realize that I'm going to come from like a more harsh background because of the way I was taught life lessons when I was younger. But I turned out fine, right? My mom obviously had a backup plan, but she was very stern in saying like, hey, like the reason we had chili that night is because all we had was ground beef and the spices for chili in the fridge. That's all we had. So it literally was a matter of that is what's for dinner. We're not stopping by McDonald's. We can't afford McDonald's right now. This is the last meal, and guess what? You're gonna have it 2 days in a row because I can't go to the grocery store until I get paid on Friday. So I just can't. I'm sorry. I can't relate. If you're the kind of person who's like, no, I think it's a violation of trust, I'm never going to understand you. And I think that's okay because this is in relation to what food you like or don't like. This isn't exactly like World War III conversation here, like some people pretend it is. I swear I've seen some people in the comment section who are like, what the f-? And then I think like it's, you know, sometimes I think like, how can wars still start in 2024? How do we not, you know, like, why are we starting wars? And then I see somebody leaving like a short essay to me about how angry they are about, I don't know, mushrooms in a soup, acting as if like it's a personal offense. But I don't know. I think I'm getting caught up in the whole violation of trust thing. How is blending the soup less work than straining it? What a stupid fight. Who claimed it was either superior or time saving? He's not wasting any of the food. I think that's reason enough. OP literally said he didn't waste time in the post. The OP cited not wasting time is the only reason. Well, obviously he doesn't waste time. It must be faster then. Like I get what he's saying here. Like how is it less time? But like what if it isn't? You know? It could genuinely just be faster. I mean, well, what if it isn't? I mean, what if it is? I mean, obviously there's a reason he's doing it. If straining was faster and didn't save any time, he'd probably just strain it. It probably is just easier. How is straining the soup less work time? Don't the strainer also need to be washed after straining soup? OP is the one who said blending takes less time. Okay. Someone doesn't immersion blend. I mean, I do, but you still have to clean on your immersion blender. Mine has a plastic guard around the blade, so it doesn't go in the dishwasher. So it's not really less work than a strainer would be. I don't know, man. I don't like using the strainer if I don't have to. I'd probably just mix it too. More protein. Mix it with crackers for like a $1 meal that will fuel you up. You're the asshole. I'm going to assume they eat everything else without issue because you're only mentioning mushrooms. So why force them to eat them? Just tell them you're grinding the mushrooms and let them decide for themselves. Here's the problem. They're kids. They're kids. And like, I'm telling you right now, I could make a steak for them and say it came from a unicorn, and they would believe it, and they would never eat steak again for the rest of their childhood. You know what I mean? They're kids. You do a little tricky sometimes. It's not like you're poisoning them. They like the taste of mushrooms. It's not like they're allergic to them. How old are your children? At a certain age, your children also tend to become old enough that it's rude to sneak something into their food without them knowing. I was not guessing your children are 10. I was saying the age when they should be told what's in their food is 10. I worded that poorly. Maybe. Tricking your children. I'm just really looking for you're the asshole. Only gently, though. Mushrooms are vile. No one should eat them ever. Get out. Grow up. You were born in 1980 and you can't grow up and eat mushrooms. Grow up. Grow up, you 40-something-year-old man. 40-something. Were you really born in 1980? I don't trust it. How is that different than cutting up vegetables tiny to put in a bolognese so the kids don't know? I mean, they'll know because they'll see it. But yeah, I get the idea. They're not allergic. Yeah, them not being allergic and actually liking the taste of mushrooms kind of really throws out any you're the asshole anything. Bro, just tell the kids what you're doing. Now they know how to get rid of texture issue. Congrats. If they won't eat it, they won't eat it. They won't eat anything from you if they find out you've been lying to them for no reason. Yeah, they will. Hey, this is when my personal childhood gets thrown into things. What do you mean they won't eat it? No, they will. They will if they know what's right for them. Hey, different generation, I guess, you know? These Zoomer kids, you're not allowed to, you're not allowed to trick them into eating their vegetables. What's that? You don't want the cream of mushroom soup because I told you that I blended the mushrooms? You'll no longer eat cream of mushroom soup? Ah, damn. Oh, you don't eat Brussels sprouts anymore? Oh, damn. I guess I'll keep feeding you mac and cheese and chicken tenders until you're 34 and you finally move out. If you do. I don't know, man. I don't know. I moved out of my parents' house at 18, but by that age, I was already eating mushrooms. I was eating mushrooms and Brussels sprouts. I was a grown-ass man. I can't relate. This is wild shit to me. I just can't comprehend it. I'm sorry.